Jones Health and Performance here. Going to go over a couple quick things on foam rolling. So foam rolling is, most people know about it at this point in time. But foam rolling is a great way to improve the tissue quality of your muscles and your myofascial system. Also increases blood flow, and the reasons we want to look into that are it can help you with soreness. If you have an old injury, it can help you with kind of remodeling and restoring quality, movement quality to that area. So we're going to go over just 4 areas today. We're going to focus on the lower body. So we're going to go over the quadriceps first, then we're going to flip over to the hamstrings. Third, we're going to do the lateral hip musculature and the IT band. And then on the 4th, we're going to head in to the adductors on the inside of the thigh. So starting out, let's go with the quadriceps. So if you have a larger foam roller, one of the advantages to that is that you can actually reduce a little bit of pressure. At first, this can be really painful for people. So you can actually keep both legs on there. I prefer to do one at a time at this point, but early on you can definitely do 2. So I'll show you both ways there. So the first thing we want to do is get down in a plank position. So we'll be right here. We're going to just put our quads right on the top. One thing to focus on with this is that we don't want to actually roll the joints themselves. We're just focusing on the soft tissue in the area in between. So I'll go from basically the crest of my hip to the top side of the knee, but I'm not actually going to do my kneecap or actually like up into my hip musculature. So what we'll do first is make sure I have a nice quality position, plank position there, and then I'm just going to put the foam roller in contact right above the knee there. And then I can start out just kind of gently rolling. I could even do both here. Just making sure that I don't let my back arch down. So what I want to do to add more pressure is just slide that roller down to the edge. And this is really where we'll focus from now on. So all I'm going to do is very gently, and slowly kind of work my way down the length of those muscles there. And at any point where I find a real adhesion or a point where there's a lot of pressure, I'm just going to stay on top of that. And I'm going to kind of breathe deeply, let it sink in, and hope that I can get a little bit of a release there. Now, if I don't get a release, what I can do is add just a little bit of movement. If that's still not sufficient, what I can do is actually leave it kind of tacked down there and then actually bend my knee, bring my foot up, and kind of floss that muscle through that point of adhesion. Maybe that'll break it up a little bit. So after that, I'll restore back to that full length. I'll just get going through there until I feel like I've done some effective work. So next area we're going to move on to the hamstrings. Hamstrings are pretty easy. I like to do one at a time. They don't really lend themselves to doing multiple ones. So all I'm going to do is go to the back of the knee, support myself here. I'll support myself with this leg and my hands. And just kind of work from the bottom of the glutes right up. Same things will apply here in terms of the speed and wanting to stay on top of any points that are sensitive. So next one we're going to go into is the IT band. So IT band's a little bit uncomfortable to get into. Well, one, it's really uncomfortable to roll out, but 2, it's a little awkward position for people. So I'm going to go over that real fast. Again, we're not going to actually roll the knee itself or the actual hip itself. What we want to do is set up in kind of a side plank position. So I'm going to make sure my arm is down and my elbow is right underneath the shoulder to protect the shoulder. I'm going to take a little bit of the weight off with this hand if I want, and I'm going to put this foot, the one that I'm not rolling out, over top, and I'm going to use that to kind of propel myself up and down. Same things will apply here. Looking for sensitive spots. Got one right there. Hear the train in the background. As an East Coaster, I thought it was really cool to live next to the Union Pacific Railroad, or work next to the Union Pacific. Sometimes I feel like I live here. Next to the Union Pacific, a lot of history there. Pretty neat. Anyway, back to foam rolling. Very gently find those sensitive spots. Getting a little bit of a release there. You can probably see it in my face. It feels good. And the same thing will apply. If I don't notice any release, I'll add just the slightest bit of movement there, and I can actually add movement in the leg itself. I'm starting to feel pretty good there. Now the last position I said we'd go over today, you can do this for your whole body. I'm not going to go into that and it would probably be a 2-hour video. The last thing we want to get to is an area that a lot of people will just kind of gloss over because it's a little bit strange to get into, and those are the hip adductors. So it's the inside of the hip. It can be a sensitive area for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it's tight just because of the activities of their daily living. So a lot of people will be seated. They'll have weak glutes, inactive glutes, and the inside of their hip musculature will get pretty tacked down on. So what I'm going to do is basically find a way to get my foam roller right up in the hip. And I'll show you how to do that. It's actually a lot simpler than you would think. So all I'm going to do is set up like I was doing my quad rolling, but I'm going to take the foot, turn it out to the side so that the inside of my leg is now exposed. And then I'll just go on through there. And the exact same things apply as every other one. One note here is to really make sure you get up in the hip and work there. I used to work for someone who told me if it didn't look like people wouldn't want to do it in public, then you probably aren't doing it correctly. And that pretty much is true. You really want to work the inside of the hip pretty well, and then also down here the inside of the knee. Again, not in the actual joint itself, but that little area on the quads right there can be pretty sensitive to BMO for people. It's definitely a good area to focus on. So hope all that helps. Hope you find it useful. One thing to note with your foam rolling, unless you absolutely need it to get into the positions of your workout, it's oftentimes best done at the end of your workout rather than the beginning, just because doing it before can actually cause a little bit of a decrease in the amount of force and the amount of work you're able to do in your workout. So unless you absolutely need it, in which case, yeah, definitely go ahead. It's better to foam roll and be a little bit weaker than to not be able to get into the positions you need in a safe manner. So hope that helps, guys, and I will talk to you soon.